Anytime you can get an opportunity to really, work on the body and get healthy late in the season, man, I'm gonna take advantage of that all the time. You saw me do it last year in the LA game and so on. So I'm always appreciative of the hard work that we put in so that we get those opportunities.
So you felt that much better today having that big break?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, every time.
How was it for you?
I mean, I feel like that's what I kind of always, pride myself on in football. Once I get the ball in my hands, I'm a different player than others. It just felt good to finally make a guy miss this year.
You feel like you're 25 again?
22, baby. 22.
Xavier Williams says young Trav would have scored on that play. Do you agree with the assessment?
Yes, I probably agree with that. But how young is young Trav? You know what I'm saying?
How much fun do you have these games?
Man, there's nothing better than playoff football, especially up here in Arrowhead. The crowd is always electric, but the feeling that you get from playing in these games with the guys that you work all year with, it's the most gratifying feeling you can come out on the top. I'm going to cherish it.
You guys have a big goal, so how hard is it staying with that?
Not hard at all, man. I'm focused on the next task at hand. You don't get here and have all these championships by looking ahead. You get here by having the right mentality, not getting complacent, and putting in the work.
Cold day. Forgive me while I throw the gloves on. I'm embarrassed to do this in front of you. You're wearing shorts out here. We're laughing with your brother. By the way, he told us your name was Charles in the name. You told everybody your name was Charlie.
I didn't think Travis was a cool enough name, so I told everybody Charles.
Okay.
My mom found out about that at the block party, but
okay.
Yeah, you already know.
Well,
I'm proud of Travis now. Shout out to Mama Kelce.
As you should be. Yet another playoff performance where you just seem to be able to dial it up on call. And I don't know, you're rolling your eyes at me, but man, like this time of year is your time of year. At this stage of a career where there's nothing left to prove, what do 60 minutes like this for you and your team represent?
Well, I mean, I feel like if you're going to step out here on the football field, you always got something to prove. And, I wish it was something like it was just a flip of the switch. I could just turn it on like that. But I think it was everybody in the building all week long, really the past 2 to 3 weeks, figuring out how to get our bodies the best rest and ready for the playoffs for a run like this. And, man, we came out firing on all cylinders today, and it felt really good, man.
All right, so this guy, Mahomes, pretty good. The plays that he seems to make over and over and over again, I just shrug. You've been with him for years now. And the biggest moments, what allows him to have the best moments?
Man, I'll tell you what, man, he puts in so much work, man, from the mental aspect throughout the week. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, while we're out on the field, he makes sure he gets all the throws. And I try and match that energy for him and try and be there for him at all the time because it's Patrick Mahomes, man. Anything can happen at any point in time.
What did it require to beat this Texans team? Because just watching from where I'm sitting, man, they battled for 60 and they made you earn every inch. I have tons of respect. I'm sure you do as well. What did they ask of your team today?
They're extremely tough individuals, and when they play together like that, it can be really hard to beat. And I think that has a lot to do with their head coach. And just how that trickles down with the leadership and the mentality.
Right.
They got a great quarterback, man. I think CJ is going to be unbelievable throughout the rest of his career and really take the bull by the horns. But I think tonight, man, Arrowhead was rocking so much that we just had a little bit more energy, baby.
Yeah, the Kingdom. We talked about when we visited with you earlier this year on a trip out here. I mean, we've been here now 3 times, and now it's the middle of January. It's freezing cold, and there's only 120 more minutes of football left for anybody. And so now we can narrow this down, right? When we're talking in early in the season, that's way down the road. But, like, they're chanting three-peat. Travis, right in front of you, man. Like, the ability to compartmentalize and do what has to happen. You've earned these next 60. It's either Buffalo or Baltimore. What goes into the next step that has to happen? Understanding it as well as your team does.
Well, in the playoffs, everything gets faster and everything gets, a little bit more physical as you as you get further along in the playoffs. So the AFC Championship is always going to be one of the biggest challenges that you ever have. And looking at who the opponents would be, those are 2 of the best teams in the National Football League for sure. And they got a lot of talent all across the board, but especially at that quarterback position. So anything can happen. And how you get ready for it is you don't look ahead. You focus on what you can do throughout the week to get your body ready, get mentally ready, and get ready to go out there and just play your tail off for the guy next to you.
You and I had this conversation after the Super Bowl last year, and I'm going to ask you some version of the same thing now. Just on the back nine of a career, right? We're not on the 18th hole, I don't think, but I mean, you're on the back nine. The appreciation for this, like this is the sweet spot. We were talking about this as a group. This just doesn't happen. You all have a chance to do something that's never been done. How do you remind yourself to remain in this moment right now and appreciate what this is that you all are doing, because it potentially has never been done before?
I think we're fortunate that we got a lot of great character guys in the building. I think Brett Beach, Clark Hunt, and Coach Reed has done an unbelievable job of bringing in the right people with the right mentality to not get too complacent. And on top of that, as the years have gone on, we only got here by focusing on the task at hand. And right now, this win was great. We're going to enjoy this one tonight, but the task at hand is going to be that AFC Championship. You don't get a three-peat by looking past that.
I know that you sat with Boomer and you looked at the numbers, and I mean, you realize you only trail Jerry Rice in terms of yards receiving and touchdowns in the postseason. I mean, like the kid in back in the Heights,
It's a crazy feeling, man.
But it's the truth. I mean, I must be. You know what? You should talk about that with your brother on your podcast. I don't want to milk all this good content. Your brother would get after me if I don't do that. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time to visit all
You're the best, big guy. Shout out to Jerry too, man.
Travis Kelce, his best performance of the season when they needed it most. It's what he does. It's what they do. And the Chiefs move on 23-14.
Patrick Mahomes threw for 177 yards and a touchdown, most of it going to best buddy Travis Kelce, and the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Houston Texans 23-14 on Sunday, AEDT, to advance to the AFC Championship game for a seventh straight season, with girlfriend Taylor Swift watching alongside WNBA star Caitlin Clark from a suite. Kelce had 7 catches for 117 yards and a score, helping the Chiefs, 16-2, keep alive their dream of winning an unprecedented third consecutive Super Bowl title. They become the 4th team in NFL history to follow back-to-back Lombardi trophies by advancing to the conference title game, and the 3 previous lost. They will try to change that trend at Arrowhead Stadium next weekend against the Bills or Ravens, who play on Monday, AEDT, in Buffalo for a shot at dethroning the champs. Mahomes improved 16-3 in the playoffs, tying Joe Montana for the second most wins in NFL history behind Tom Brady, and he is 7-0 in the divisional round. Mahomes also helped Andy Reid become the 4th NFL coach with 300 career wins. Meanwhile, the Texans, 11-8, still have never won in 6 divisional games, and 2 of those losses have come against Kansas City. Houston quarterback C.J. Stroud threw for 245 yards but was sacked 8 times. Joe Mixon, who had been questionable to play with an ankle injury, caught a couple of passes while running for 88 yards and a touchdown. Texans kicker Kai Fairbairn missed a 55-yard field goal attempt, an extra point try, and had another field goal attempt blocked with less than 2 minutes remaining, which would have kept Houston's comeback hopes alive. In truth, the Texans' special teams were a mess right from the start, as the Chiefs nearly opened the game with a kickoff return for a touchdown, a bizarre sequence during which heated Houston cornerback Chris Boyd shoved his own coach. The Kansas City Chiefs continue their quest for a historic Super Bowl three-peat with another familiar postseason milestone. The top-seeded Chiefs secured a 23-14 victory over the Houston Texans on Saturday in the divisional round, advancing to their 7th consecutive AFC Championship game. Kansas City will host the winner of Sunday's matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and Buffalo Bills. Patrick Mahomes praised Travis Kelce's stellar performance following the Kansas City Chiefs' 23-14 divisional round playoff win over the Houston Texans on Saturday. 87 was gonna show up whenever it's a big-time moment, and he did that, Mahomes said in an interview after the game. 0:45 mark. Everybody was asking, where's Travis Kelce at? I think he showed the world where he's at. It was an impressive performance by the tight end, as he failed to surpass 100 receiving yards during 16 regular season appearances in 2024. Kelce has still proven himself as one of the top players at his position, but his individual production has dipped slightly as of late. He caught 97 passes for 823 yards and 3 touchdowns entering the playoffs. The 35-year-old has failed to reach 1,000 yards in each of the past 2 years after crossing the threshold in every season from 2016 to 22. While Kelce still earned his 10th consecutive Pro Bowl nod, he wasn't as effective during his 2024 campaign compared to previous years. He's continued to repeatedly step up in the playoffs, though. Kelce owned an average of 86.5 receiving yards per game in the postseason heading into Saturday's contest, representing an increase over his mark of 69.4 yards per game throughout his regular season career. He rose to the occasion during the Chiefs' run to a Super Bowl title during their 2023 season, hauling in 32 receptions for 355 yards and 3 touchdowns in 4 playoff contests. As Kansas City attempts to win a 3rd consecutive championship, Kelce appears to be turning back the clock once again. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to their 7th consecutive AFC Championship game after defeating the Houston Texans in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs on Saturday, winning 23-14. The star of Kansas City's offense was an unsurprising one, despite his age. Tight end Travis Kelce, at age 35, was quarterback Patrick Mahomes' favorite target on Saturday as Kelce hauled in 7 catches for 117 yards and a touchdown, recording nearly half of Mahomes' 16 completions and the vast majority of Mahomes' 177 passing yards. After the game, Kelce sat down with Scott Van Pelt of ESPN to discuss his massive game and how the Chiefs will prepare for the AFC Championship game and a potential chance to complete the NFL's first-ever three-peat. Van Pelt noted that Kelce rolled his eyes at Van Pelt's suggestion that Kelce has continually been able to dial it up on call when the spotlight has been on the veteran tight end. Looking for a glimpse of how the Chiefs continue to produce playoff success, Van Pelt asked Kelce what 60 minutes of playoff football mean to him and the reigning back-to-back champions. "Well, I mean, I feel like if you're going to step out here on the football field, you've always got something to prove," Kelce said. "I wish it was something like it was just a flip of the switch, I could just turn it on like that, but I think it was everybody in that building all week long, really the past 2 to 3 weeks. Figuring out how to get our bodies the best rest and ready for the playoffs for a run like this. Man, we came out firing on all cylinders today and it felt really good." As the ESPN post-game broadcast showed the replay of Mahomes' falling touchdown pass to Kelce, Van Pelt asked Kelce what allows Mahomes to be so successful in the biggest moments. "Man,